Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 66, with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Gräter. Hi, guys.
Hello, lovely people. Today's episode is all about attitude, as Vladi touched on it in last episode, so we want to go there today. Usually when I wake up, I do my morning sports routine in my bedroom. I have a whole house with, I don't know, a trillion rooms, but I do it in my bedroom. I don't know why. I think it's just, based on I ever always did it, and that's where I do it. Habit. It's called habit.
Good habit.
And from day to day, when I looked out the window, because I do it towards the window that I can see the sky, when I lay on the floor, I realized the windows are dirty. Of course, we come out of window, we go into spring, the windows are dirty, and also the blinders are dirty from the outside. And I don't know how many days I laid on this ground and having the same thought again and again and again and again. I should clean those windows. I really don't like that. I like to have the brilliant, clear windows, at least in this bedroom where I have to look out. In the other house, I don't care. I don't stand there and look through the windows. But in the bedroom, doing my sports routine, I do it. And this brings me into attitude. What's your attitude about things that you like and things you don't like? And for me, it took probably a week and a half until I said, okay, now today is the day. And it's not a task where I need half a day, where I need a weekend. No, I mean, cleaning 2 windows and the blinders, it's a matter of, let's say, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Could be easily squeezed into every part of the day. But sometimes you just let it slide. Because you did not raise your standards. Because you said, it's okay. You had the attitude of, it's okay. I can live with that. The car almost falls apart, but I can still live with that. I'm happy. I'm alive. You always find reasons to compare it to where you say, there are people that have worse cars, or they don't even have cars. And then they have people that don't even have shoes. And you're totally right. The main question is, are you happy doing the things or using the things that you would love to change, but you just give yourself a nice excuse? Because then you don't build the attitude of, I could have it. Or even, I need to have it, or I want to have it, or I'm gonna have it. What's your attitude about the things that you really favor, that you really want to have? Are you the pleased one and say, no, I learned that from spiritual masters, be okay with everything, and God is punishing me, and the universe is testing me? No, your karma is just coming back about the attitude you give out. And if you have the attitude of everything is okay with me, and you can do everything with me because I'm not worthy, and I'm not this, I'm not that, nothing great will come back to you. So therefore, we hope to give you some inspirations how you can raise your energy in regards to your attitude and how you will have much more fun, joy, and light, I want to say, if it comes to the blinders and the windows in your life. Vladi, what do you think?
I have to go back to Thurman Fleet and the stick person, which he used to describe mind. Because usually when you say, what is your mind? Brilliant. What is your mind? We used to just think immediately it's your brain, but it isn't. Your mind is even in your fingernails, and that's maybe topic for another podcast, but I do want to come to that. And I want to say that Bob Proctor used to teach us we simultaneously live on 3 planes all the time, and it's a physical, emotional, and spiritual. Attitude is a combination of your thoughts and feelings expressed through action. And attitude is a creative cycle. So if you choose to have a positive attitude, I love what Norman's doing, because really every morning you should ask yourself, and I actually wrote a question which I use. Do I do it every morning? No anymore. I used to do it very long time, for years, every morning, but I do still ask that question. It's each morning, ask yourself this: what environment do I want to create for my life to really thrive? And now think about that. What environment do you want to create for your life to really thrive? Because attitude is the environment, not only that you create, because attitude is a creative cycle, but it's also the environment you take with you everywhere. So you can't say, I'm going to leave my attitude home today and just go off for work. It doesn't work. It's like your shadow in the summer. You can't separate from it. And there are very many people who are very successful, skillful, and wise, and their attitude sucks. I've met many people who are not that skilled, not very smart, and no offense, it's no comparison, but their attitude is amazing. And we can look in lives how it's changing, because years ago, when there was the times where the development was so much, the era of studies, and we would be encouraged to have 5 diplomas, 5 certificates, 2 universities, and then you can wallpaper your wall with all the qualifications, and these people still don't have jobs. They're not smart. They're brilliant. They've studied a lot, but their attitude, some people's attitude, not even having a degrees, they learn to have the best attitude, and those are the people who are being hired now. Because think about it, if you're an owner of the company and you're interviewing for a position, obviously you do have positions where you need technical skills and really high education. However, most of the times, the person and the team that has better attitude will always create more results than the team that is more qualified and their attitude sucks, because attitude is everything. And if you choose to have a great attitude, and it's really important because it's one of the last freedoms we have. We choose how we respond instead of reacting. Because if you react to the things, then it will just fall. And I do have another sentence. I used to say this: I'm very aware of overall attitude, and I'm going to pay special attention to my attitude in each area of your life. I'd like you to think about your 4 quadrants of life, which is love and relationship, your health and well-being, your money and time, financial freedom, and your work, your purpose, life purpose. How is your attitude in each one of these sections? Because I can have an amazing attitude in love and relationships, and my attitude towards money and time freedom sucks. So it's not really leveling the overall attitude that you adopt and step into as a person. So it's really important that you can make a very small shift in your attitude and make a huge difference in your results. It really is a creative cycle. So it's like a cause and effect law. So remember one thing. I mean, remember many things, but remember you're creating it all the time. If you meet someone who's really angry, like there is just this person, and we told you probably this story with Norman before, but I'll quickly run through it. There was a cashier in the US, and she was really grumpy. She was throwing and then scanning the food, and it was a supermarket, and there was this, there's always like the young person who's packing the bags for the customer, and she was just not having it. She was like mumbling something, and the person just paid, and the card didn't go through, and she frowned at her. And then when the customer paid and went to load the shopping into the car, and obviously this person helping her, she said to him, "This must be the most miserable cashier I have ever met." And the guy who carried the little girl or boy, I don't remember who it was, but it's actually a true story. And they said to her, "I know. Her son got hit yesterday on a bike. He's in intensive care. She doesn't have enough money to pay for the treatment. And if she doesn't come to work, she may get sacked. So she's really afraid, and she's living in that fear." I mean, at that particular moment, that person's fear, like the compassion you feel towards that person once you know the story, changes your attitude. Would you agree? But why can't we do that? Because we never know anybody's story. We meet people who might be really mean, or who might be cutting us through when we're driving, or who might be parked too close, and they might be frowning at the shopping. We do not know their story. And if we choose to adopt a great attitude, we will always know that everything's working perfectly in order the way it is. Everything's working out for me perfectly. But there is a reason why that person is. So I can adopt the best attitude, and sometimes smile or hug, or just saying, "Are you all right? I could help." "No, I don't need any help." It doesn't matter how the person responds or reacts. It's how you stay aligned to the best possible attitude, with knowing that that probably is going some crappy stuff in their lives, and you can always have best attitude. Norman, what do you think?
I'm 100% with you. I was reminded by something. I have a file in my Dropbox that says morning routine. And I thought there's one violin I listened to quite often in the past, not lately. And I remembered it was Earl Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret. And he starts off with basically saying that the most underrated and strangest secret basically is your own attitude, how you wake up in the morning. How is your attitude? Because this will determine the rest of your day. This brings us back to success is 95% mindset and 5% strategy. You could have the best strategy in the world, but if you have a mindset that sucks, that you say, our team will never master it, we don't have this, we don't have that, you look at all the things that you do not have, you will not conquer your goal. So how is your mindset when you get up in the morning? If you have ever been at a Kiss concert, you probably have realized that the beginning of the concert is the same since many, many years. There comes a big or deep bass sound in, and then the announcer starts to say, you wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band in the world, Kiss! And then the guitars play and the curtain drops and it starts with pyro and everything. Lately I showed that in one of my keynotes and asked the people, so if you're very honest, who thought this is very egoistic and selfish what they said? I mean, you wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world. What an announcement. And some people raised their arm. And I said, interesting. If you think that this is ridiculously egoistic, and you think, I mean, how bold can you be to say you wanted the best, you got the best? Oh. I said, if you would have this attitude in the morning when you get out of bed, you would jump out of bed, raise your arms in the sky, and scream from the top of your lungs, you wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest boy, girl, whatever, man, woman, kid in the world. And then you say your name. I think if you do that once, probably your most favorite person that's probably up now in the same room would shake the head and say, are you totally out of your mind? But let's forget about this favorite person next to you and imagine if you would have this attitude in the morning and you would go to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to a shower, to the car, to work, to wherever with an attitude like that. Like, world, you wanted the best, you got the best, here I am. Do you think that more doors would open for you, that people would recognize you and there was no need that you have tattoos in your face, 5,000 piercing on your ear, yellow outfits, bright green shoes, you know, all those things that actually scream like, see me, see me, see me, look at me, I'm different, I'm special. But how much more can you put on the outside if on the inside there is no light? Rather than saying, you know, I don't need to be any special on the outside. Because if I come with the right attitude, the attitude of this is me, here I am, I love myself, we talked about that in the last episode, then everything would change. People would see you, people would feel your energy when you enter a room. Instead of, you know, being the loudest in the room and bragging with all your golf clubs and your keychains and whatever you conquered so far in your life. This is just BS. And if somebody takes all those things away, who are you? Who are you? Most people that retire, that they have been ripped off the most important thing. Their standard of being, in the sense of, oh, I am general manager, I am CFO, I'm CMO, I'm CCC, whatever. Who are you? And do you have the right attitude to project that to the outside? Again, not from an egoistic standpoint, but from one that says, I know exactly who I am. And then you can say, I'm God's child if you believe in God, or I'm part of the universe, or I am, whatever, whoever. Are you aware of that? As long as you look back into your past, you will find a trillion reasons why you can say, oh, I am not this, I am not good enough. And what Vladi shared in last episode, what hangs still on my mirror in the bedroom, that says, God looks good in me. And this is also a great attitude you could have.
I love that, Norman. You know what is really, guys, important that when you look at your results in life, you actually, they're reflection of your attitude. Because even think about this, like, you know, I was listening to a podcast, but I was also talking to a friend, and she said to me, you know, like when I need something, there's no way there's anybody's around, you know, like everybody's busy. But really, this goes to our attitude as well, because are you that kind of person who's only available for people when they're free? And then they say, well, I'm busy all the time. You make time for things that matter, and you make time for people that matter. Of course, you don't have to be texting every day. Sometimes, you know, like if you have a really connected souls, you're just there for each other. But if that person needs help, regardless of your schedule, what would you do? Your attitude is what you feel. What's your attitude towards that something happens, your situation or condition, the outside circumstances, like the outside factors, may create something that actually causes you to think certain way. However, you can change this with the attitude you have, because the attitude is the last part of freedoms we have, really. It's we choose how we respond, or whether we're going to judge the situation, or whether we're just going to listen. Instead of speaking, we're going to observe and not judge. And that is the part where you also, what's the approach you have? Something happens, it's like, okay, let's find a solution. How can I help? That is attitude too. That is a part of the way. And I love when Norman was talking about the morning routine, because that is the key. How you wake up into the morning. What is the first thing you do every morning you wake up? You know, like I've had same as Norman. I day by day, every day, I get better and greater in every way. It's actually masters say better and better every day, but because Norman is greater and we were always talking about being greater and having a song "Great I Am," we just changed it to better and greater. So adjust things that you feel they're right for you. It doesn't have to be the same way as everyone else is saying. However, you know whether it makes you feel good or bad. And stop making excuses. I don't have time. I don't have money. We need time. But you don't need money to have a good attitude. In fact, when I'm a billionaire, then I will help others. No, it doesn't work like that. You either the person who's been there for people all the time, and when you reach that peak, you know those people are with you. Well, they're with you not because of your money or your materialistic obsessions. They there for you because of your attitude, and the attitude you both had entire time you know each other. This is why when you feel that, oh, I don't know who to call, because how much are you there for people? Because lots of times now people have this attitude of, I expect others to do things for me, but I don't have a time, I'm busy, or I paid for it so I don't have to give them my attention. You're comparing two different energies: energy of being and being there for a person, and energy of money, which I'm not saying it's a bad energy, but in terms of energies, it's what is your attitude towards yourself, because that determines what is your attitude towards life. If you don't have, and we go back to last episode when we talked about self-love, you can't give what you don't have. If you cannot have a great attitude towards yourself and the challenges you experience, and looking at them as lessons and just ways to figure out the solution. Thomas Edison said, I didn't fail 9,999 times, or I think, I have just found a 9,999 new ways of how to discover the bomb. And it's true. It's not a failure. It's how can I adjust my attitude? Because you know exactly when something happens during the day and you're not quite happy with yourself, the way you act or reacted, and I have that sometimes, you know, like when I'm really rushed and I'm late and kids and, you know, like you're in the trailing and somebody cuts in front of me, or I have an older person. I wouldn't say older, but I have a person when there's like 40 miles an hour and they go 10. That raises my level. When I'm late, I'm like really not happy to have this person. And I'm always thinking, God gave you this situation to practice patience, because we ask for patience with our kids sometimes. Well, that's my case. Well, we actually experience during the day the situations we can practice patience. You don't get what you ask for. You get the opportunity to grow yourself into that. That's the key difference. I want this and I'm desiring this and I have a burning desire, but you need to practice yourself into it. If you ask for patience, you will experience situations where they're going to teach you how to be patient. It's not like, here's a patience, have a little potion. We would all be eating these potions and ordering them. It's you are experiencing life in a way to practice yourself into becoming a better and grander version of yourself, having a great attitude. Norman, back to you.
You experience life not how life is, you experience the way you are, what your attitude is, how your attitude is. And I was reminded that I was with my daughter many, many years ago at a My Little Pony convention. And I, thinking about that, before we went, thought there will be a convention full of parents and kids. I mean, My Little Pony, kids, toon, series. There were kids. There were teenagers, there were young adults, there were adults, and there were even old people. I saw people with 60 plus that were at this convention. I thought, what's going on here? The weirdos are in the house. So I watched the day unfold and all the panels they had, and they had the voiceover people there. And what I realized in one of those panels, especially with the voice artists, that the guys and girls that were there, the fans, asked them questions like if the real pony would sit down there on the stage. They did not ask them as a vocal artist. They asked a question to the pony. And I thought, this is really what I mean, if it's just kids, I get it, but they were all ages. They had merchandise, they had stuffed animals with them, they had backpacks, there was My Little Pony everywhere. And I thought either I'm in the biggest freak show in the world or something else must be going on here. So I approached a young guy after one of the panels. I was maybe 18, 19, guy from the UK who was totally dressed in My Little Pony. Backpack, shirt, keychain, everything. Can I ask you a question? Is that sure? I said, I watched now half a day the thing that's going on here, and I have an idea, and I would like to confirm it that my idea might be right. But before I do that, I want to ask you the question, why are you a big fan of My Little Pony? And he said, there are many, many ponies, and they all have a superpower. The one is the fire one, the other one is the water one. It's like with the superheroes. I cannot remember the pony he was wearing, but he was standing for something. I figured that they are kind of superheroes, and the people, the fans, relate to the superpower that they have. My conclusion was, after a little talk, and he was there with his parents, and I saw them. They were standing a couple meters away. They were not happy to be there. They thought we have the weirdest son in the world. That's how they looked. But after the talk with him, I understood him. I said, if you wear this shirt, do you put on your uniform? Do you gain the superpower when you have this on? Or the backpack with this pony on? And he said, yes, with a big smile. And then my whole perception of the thing and my attitude towards the convention changed. I realized most of the people in here are very introverted. They are the kids that nobody likes, that are playing computer games, that are not the most famous, not the biggest, not the fastest, not the most prettiest one. No matter what you want to point out, what the world wants to see and have as a normal thing. The secret kids, they were all there. They come out and put on kind of a Superman, Batman, Superwoman uniform, and they just take on the superpower of this little pony. This gives them something. And the moment I realized that, I saw everything through a different pair of eyes. At the end of the day, if you believe me or not, Vladi, I was going on Amazon and Googling My Little Pony t-shirts. I was so close with buying a My Little Pony t-shirt in my age. I mean, it's a couple of years ago, but still, I was a grown-up. Because this unity they had, this superpower aura they had, the attitude of we are something. We are something. And we borrow the little pony for a couple hours and we can be everything we want to be. And we were everything we want to have. And if we are 48 years of age and we have a big stuffed animal under our arm, we feel very empowered. The attitude changes totally. And therefore, if you want to use something like an outfit, shoes, a stuffed animal, a keychain, whatever it might be, where you say, in Vladi's case, crystals. If you say this is my superpower, a silver coin, gold coin, whatever gives you the impression that you're now more powerful. And it's not egoistic that you go out in the world and you scream it into the world and say, I'm a superhero. Yeah, then they put you behind bars probably or in some other institution. Not a good thing. If you just feel that for yourself and you see your body straightening up and raising up due to the fact that you wear the crystal, the coin, the outfit, the t-shirt, it helps. And you can wear something on top. And if you watch all the superhero movies, Superman and all the other things, these are not the extroverted types in their regular life. They are more or less the boring people. The moment they put on their costume, their outfit, however you want to call it, they totally change. The attitude changes. And this, my friends, is proof that it's not the outfit. The jumper that Superman puts on, the jumper cannot give him superpower. I mean, it's just a very tiny thin fabric. He thinks that he is Superman. And as he thinks that, could this change the world? If you think you are able to do it, if you think you are the master of your wishes, your desires, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, if you would start to believe that you can do it, that you can have it, that you can be it, your whole life would change. And if a costume is required, then use it. I mean, who should stop you? And all the people that say, yeah, but you're not a child anymore, you're a grown-up. Grown-ups don't do stuff like that. All the superheroes don't walk around in their outfit all day long unless they live on another planet. And yeah, all the Marvel guys probably do that, but the regular superheroes I grew up with, they don't do that. There was something else during the day, and if they want to be the Superman, Superwoman, they change into something. How about you change into something that gives you superpower? Vladi.
I use one of my daily gratitude sentences on my journal is actually, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a phenomenal attitude. I come from this phenomenal attitude all the time. So really just focus on having a phenomenal attitude all the time, the best you can. Tweak it, change it, and just be better all the time and grow into the best attitude. And with this, we leave you and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Bye-bye.